friend happiness. We've arrived. After the long, slow slog through the other four major emotions, we've finally arrived at our destination. The one true emotion that we're all shooting for, that we all want, and that we're desperate to hold on to. But are we saved with happiness? Let's find out. Upon first looking at it, happiness seems pretty straightforward. It's that pleasant physical experience that we have when we're connected to something that we want, something we like, something we're shooting for. In the language that I've been talking about, all of our emotions are a connection to a particular value. So with happiness, it could be a connection to ice cream, to the love of your life, to a sunny day. It really doesn't matter here. Whatever it is that we're wanting, when we have connection to it, we're going to feel happy. Now, it seems like this is the emotion that we're all shooting for. We're all striving for it. Very much so, we're hoping for it. And this is where we get really stuck in happiness. Stuck in happiness is a very interesting phrase, right? We're thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. Stuck is a bad connotation. Happiness is a good one. What's going on here? Looking deeper, more clearly into what happiness is. Happiness is, once again, like all the other emotions, an expression of attachment. When we have a value, we know that value, ice cream, love, support, sunny sky, and then we have access to that value, we then feel that pleasurable sensation. And not to get in the neuroscience of it, but we also have neurochemicals drop into our body. We have pleasant physiological sensations. We have pleasant thoughts, pleasant, and it's all very lovely. But here's the problem with all that. It's also very temporary. So here's what happens. We, like the proverbial hamster on the wheel, hop on, running and searching and moving towards that next thing that will make us happy. What we have not recognized is that the very act of reaching or going towards that thing that will make us happy is not only a potentially misery-inducing process, but then once we've held on to and gotten that thing of happiness, we freak out. We might actually be happy, but then later we will lose that thing that we have connection to, because here's the truth, everything is temporary. So we search, we grab, we run, we have it, we're happy, then we lose it. Or we're afraid of losing it, afraid of not having that happiness. And unfortunately, in many spiritual circles, this drive towards what is oftentimes called bliss is the running desire, running gag in the whole operation. What we must start looking at is that it's the very nature of attachment that keeps us stuck. Now, a lot of you might hear some Buddhism here because I'm very influenced by Buddhism, and at the core of the Four Noble Truths is desire creates suffering. Well, I've learned to kind of slightly tweak that, and here's my example. I desire a burger right now. That's actually a fact. I always desire burgers or pizza because I love them. Now, my desire is actually not the thing creating my misery. If I were attached to the desire of having pizza or a burger and couldn't drop the thought and believed that that's the only way that I can be happy or pleased or content, that's what gets you. So it's not the desire per se, it's our attachment and laser latched on focus to that desire. Well, that's what actually happiness drives in us, is that leading to that attachment. We must glom onto that thing. It's going to keep us happy. And now once we've got it, we must hold on to it for dear life. Because if we let it go, the happiness goes with it. Now, part of that is true. The happiness is going to go away. Because with any object, be it a mental, emotional, or physical object, it's going to go away. But what we're doing is we're attaching to the experience of happiness in and of itself. And a lot of us believe that if we're not happy, we're somehow failing at life. This is probably the worst myth perpetuated by, America, Western society. I'm not sure exactly where it comes from. I'd love for y'all to educate me. Seriously, put a link down below. Let me know someone out there is alive. But anyway, we keep lurching towards this thing, keep hoping. And then there's that other part that I just mentioned, hope. We oftentimes think of hope as this pleasurable, lovely, great commodity. As I like to say, hope is anxiety dressed in drag. What I mean by that is it is very much anxiety, but it's covered up by this fake facade of giving us strength and courage and purpose. It doesn't. All you have to do is look at how it's used. I hope I get that job. I hope it doesn't rain tomorrow. I hope it's a future-focused experience. It's also a passive experience. It's also, of course, what am I on? Number 3? Whatever I'm at. It's also connected to happiness. If I have that thing, I hope I get that thing. And when I do get that thing, then it'll make me content and happy. So there's this slog through and through and through of trying to reach for that happiness and hold on to it and then lose it and then be miserable and then wonder what we're doing wrong. We're not doing anything wrong here. What we're doing is believing that happiness is the goal. So if happiness isn't the goal, what is? Well, you can use the very different words here: bliss, enlightenment, joy. I like to use the word joy. What we can shoot for is a non-attached place of ease. So looking at happiness, there is that pleasantness, there is the neurochemicals, there's all of that that combines in a sense of ease and pleasure. But the problem is it can be it usually is very short-lived. It can be intense, but it's short-lived. And it's short-lived because it's derived by that attachment. With joy, you come from a place of non-attachment. Now what that looks like is still having values, still having goals, still having purpose and direction, but knowing that happiness isn't going to be derived from having that thing. Instead of it being a product-oriented process like happiness is, joy is a process-oriented process. What I mean by that is you stay connected to the present moment, knowing what it is that you're shooting for, but staying in that slow, relaxed, ebullient place of pleasure. And why is it pleasurable? Because we don't have any expectation as to how things are supposed to be. Happiness very oftentimes has that connection to expectation. If it's not just so, then I won't be happy. It won't be the way it's supposed to be. So with joy, we let go of the mental expectations, we let go of the rigidity of how the world is supposed to be, and we connect with it on its own terms. Now, with acceptance, I don't also mean agreement. Acceptance is simply acknowledging the truth of what is. When we are not attached to the way things are supposed to be, it opens us up, it frees us, it gives us room to explore. It in fact makes us better able to reach our goals because we are more creative, or more open to change and flexibility, or more willing to fail, to be wrong, to not make it. So notice then that joy is not necessarily a place of happiness or intense bliss per se, but it is a place of ease. There's physical space in the body, there's mental space in the mind. It takes quite a bit of effort to get to this place of joy. I've experienced it, and I certainly am not there all the time, but I recognize it when it's there. This is what I encourage you to start doing, is recognizing those times in which nothing needs to be any certain way. Everyone experiences this from time to time. That actually is what I mean by joy, that everything is just fine. It's okay even. Right? We use these words, but what we're talking about is we're not attached to any particular outcome or process or expectation. Everything just is. We're like the dude. We're just abiding. Learn to get to a place where you can slow yourself down, detach from those mental thoughts, and have a connection to what is in the present moment. You'll find that there's always something pleasant to connect to in the present moment. And then when it goes away and you're not attached to it, you just reconnect to something else. We're very much the tree blowing in the wind. We're allowing ourselves to be moved by that which is around us and that which is in us. We can be free in that place.